All right, where this dude? Hold up. Answer your phone.
Hello?
Bro, wake up. I like wake up.
Yo, who is this?
But you know who it
How'd
is.
you
It's
get my
Naji.
number, man?
We got a podcast to do. I know I'm in London. I know we got things. I'm busy. We out here living our life, but we got things to do. Just come on.
Yo, is this Naji?
Yes, it is. God damn it!
Oh, man. Oh, we got a podcast? Ah, shit, man.
Did I not just say that?
I forgot.
Wake up!
All right, man. Like, yo, why don't you do that? Like, do the intro thing. Do the whole voice. Like, oh, this is 1,000 Story Podcast, and then like that theme song. And yeah, do that, and I'll be ready. I promise.
Okay. All right. You better wait in 5 minutes.
All right.
5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Right.
That's it.
All right, man.
That's it. No limit. No other. 5 minutes.
I'm just put some water on my face. I'm gonna do some jump jacks.
That's longer than 5 minutes. Don't do that.
Okay, man.
5 minutes.
All right, man. You know what? I'm ready now. Just do the intro.
All right. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna hang up. Click. You're now listening to the 1,000 Story Podcast, presented by 1,000 Story. Welcome to the 1,000 Story Podcast. We are your hosts, Naji
and Luis.
And today we're presenting a conversation on how much luck has to do. What's luck got to do with it? No pun intended, but kind of intended. Basically, we were trying to look at some studies into, how much we're actually successful via our talent versus how much of it is just pure luck or connections or just, serendipity. So it's, how much of our hard work is actually showing up in our success. And we thought we'd just kind of look at it and observe it and see how it's affected us in our careers and how it affects others in their careers.
Yeah, because I think one of the major parts of this, of successful people, I should say, is that in order to be successful, it really is just a mixture of, one, talent, and two, luck. But more importantly than that is your preparedness of when you reach a luck point, I should say.
Right. Yeah. So if you're prepared enough at that luck point to be able to take advantage of that opportunity.
Exactly. I think one of the most important things that I read about this was the definition of talent itself. I found that really interesting. And this was just one definition of talent. I mean, this isn't obviously like the definition, but to me, it just put it in a really nice perspective that talent is basically whatever set of personal characteristics allow a person to exploit a lucky opportunity, which I think really makes sense. I mean, to me.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if you can be talented enough to basically, well, not talented enough, but basically your talents consist of having the skills to be able to, one, identify an opportunity and two, be able to take advantage of it. Like,
right.
That totally
exactly.
makes sense.
I mean, because this goes into like kids that like I don't know if you've heard those stories of like, oh, like I think there was a story of like the Who or the Rolling Stones or something like that, where like their drummer had done too many drugs the night before and like passed out in the middle of the set. And then, like they called on to the audience if there was like any drummer who was able to play their songs or whatever. And this kid got on stage and just absolutely destroyed it. Like he played their entire rest of the set super well. It was amazing.
Wow. Damn. That is kind of fortunate.
I
mean, for both the band and that kid. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's lucky,
Incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
And also, but, at the same time, he had the skill necessary to be able to, identify that opportunity.
Exactly.
And take advantage of it.
Like who goes to a concert expecting something like that? Like you can't go.
You can't. Like you can try and maybe say like it obviously you can think about it, but the probability that that would happen knowing that you have no connections to these people whatsoever,
Yeah.
all you've done is just purchase a ticket, I mean, but even though in that in and of itself is like, I mean, technically that is an opportunity, right? Because you could
Yeah.
say, well, this gives me a much higher chance of being in this very improbable scenario, but it still gives me a much higher chance than me staying home.
Yeah.
So technically, it's an educated decision, but it's just the probability of that happening is unlikely. However,
Yeah.
because he was prepared, he was able to take care or take advantage of that scenario
Yeah.
in the case that it did occur, which
Mhm.
is kind of dope. So it makes you wonder how many opportunities have we had, just as creatives in any field, like, or not even just as creatives, just in general as people in any field where we can actually put ourselves in a better opportunity, and we haven't been able to take advantage of it or haven't even recognized that we have that opportunity there. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Because that's, I mean, if you really break it down to just even that scenario, for example,
Hmm.
like not only did this kid have to like the band enough to purchase a ticket, because and the band would have had to have been touring close to where he lived enough to for him to purchase a ticket to even go to the
Mhm.
show, right?
Yeah.
And then at the show, yeah, the probability of, the said drummer passing out in the middle of the set, and then with how many people there are there to
That
be
could
the
also be
only
drummers.
that could also be drummers, to be the one that's chosen, and then on top of that to be have been trained enough as a drummer to be able to perform their songs specifically
Hmm.
like they do. That's just it's such a highly unlikely scenario to have happened. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one in a million, you know.
It truly is. So then, I guess on the other side, then that's a situation where a highly skilled person was able to put themselves in a very fortunate situation
Mhm.
in the case that a very improbable outcome
Yeah,
would happen. But
exactly.
from what we saw, we were looking up this article. I can't even remember the name of the article, but we were looking it up, and they did a study. Some Italian doctors did a study on, and they kind of like ran a simulation on or like on talent and like quantifiable talent and unquantifiable serendipity. To the best that they could. Obviously, we can't like measure it to that accurate extent, but
Yeah.
to what we kind of defined it as, which that's where that definition of talent came from, was from that study. And so on the opposite end, we have a bunch of in our current society, we have a bunch of I guess mediocre or like less talented people. Like basically, the less talented you are in our society, the more likely you are to gain success. Not because of your talent, because it's not really based on talent necessarily. It's not based on the definition that we just described. It's just based on previous attempts or previous successes or successions, if you will. It was based on, they were like, employees or employers basically look at your history of success, or clients will look at your history of success, your
Mm.
portfolio,
Mm.
and they'll see, okay, this guy has had, or this girl has had a series of successful things that have been profitable, or that
Mhm.
have turned out really well. So we'll hire this person. But and there is a modicum of skill, obviously skill and talent
Right.
associated with that.
Yeah.
You're going to this person for their skill, but you can have somebody who's equally as skilled, or even better, maybe grew up in a slum or doesn't have an email yet,
Yeah.
or they don't have access to the internet yet. And because of that unfortunate, unlucky circumstance, they're out of it because they don't
Yeah.
have the same previous attempts or previous record of success. And that has nothing to do with their talent. That has
Mhm.
literally nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
That has nothing with being able to identify an opportunity, or identify, when they can take advantage of it, or, recognize their own skill. That's just straight up unlucky.
Yeah.
So I wonder how often that happens. I mean, it does happen incredibly often. So, they tried to see what would happen if we switched it to where, instead of reviewing or considering people by their previous successes, just straight up by, kind of even the playing fields and giving everybody the same chance, so in their case, they were talking about giving everybody the same funding for a project, for example, rather than looking at potential startup businesses
Mhm.
and looking at their previous successes, they were just saying, what if we just gave everybody the same amount of funding with the same amount of talent?
Like smaller
Or like, I
funding
guess,
instead of larger.
right.
Yeah.
Or, smaller funding instead of larger, or just give everybody the equal amount
Yeah.
and see how that would fare out. And in the scenario, it actually turned out that, everybody kind of benefited in the long run.
Mhm.
Like previously, in like if they modeled it after this real life scenario, about 20% of people had the most of the success of the group, right? And then in the potential scenario where everybody was on the same footing, about 60% of people, like average people,
Yeah.
had the success, and 100% of highly skilled people had success. And it was just
Mhm.
like, that's crazy.
I think
That's crazy.
like this is I don't want to say it's like an age old conversation, but like, I've heard people say before, like, what if the cure to cancer is in some kid in a third world country who doesn't have access to the internet? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who's not able to set themselves up for these, but they have the mind for it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's not has nothing. Well, it's something to do with them being able to, I guess, develop their talent, right?
Yeah.
Because even that being able to develop the talent is based on serendipitous or
I mean, that's
like
luck.
circumstances.
Yeah.
That's just straight up who you were born into, like in what
where
family
you were
to,
born,
where you go to school.
basically. Yeah.
And that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. There's not much you can do. I mean, and that's the issue. Not the issue, but like that's just the unfortunate thing, is that when you are faced with misfortune, it is just that. It is just an unlucky situation happening. I mean, when you look at cases of people who had unfortunate situations or missed unfortunate situations, like Kanye West, for example, in his car accident. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a highly prolific, um, fortunate event that he has talked about a lot, where he was doing beats for Jay-Z and got into this huge car accident and somehow lived.
Right.
Or Seth MacFarlane, who was supposed to be on the 9/11 flight, didn't get on
Yeah.
for he was just late to the flight because of taxi or something like that. Like I forget exactly what it was, but it just happened that he didn't get on the flight. And because A World Without Family Guy or anything that Kanye West has made, I mean, that would be those were highly influential bits of entertainment in our culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All based on, or at least not all based on, but the continuation of those series or the continuation of those pieces of art were based on a lucky circumstance, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's just wild.
So, but it begs the question then. So, okay, so how much of our life is actually based on luck versus talent? Because you see
Ooh.
people who are cash cows, like, so
Ooh.
you can see somebody who is trash,
Yeah.
right? But because they're marketable in such a way, they gain a higher modicum of success, whether it's financial or social success.
Who's that
Because-
rapper? 6ix9ine, the SoundCloud rapper meme,
Oh
Isn't
God!
it?
I mean, there's a few SoundCloud rapper memes. 6ix9ine is probably just one of them.
right? With the rainbow colored hair and like the just
Yeah, that's
tattoos
it,
all
yeah.
over his face. I mean, that's
That might
lucky.
be, yeah, yeah. That is lucky.
That dude is lucky.
That is incredibly lucky. I mean, because obviously, okay, granted, everybody has some level of talent. So it's not to say
Right.
that he has no talent.
No,
right?
it's
It's just you can clearly see that there are infinitely more talented people out there who have not had the same opportunities that this person has had. And that is how our society is currently set up today.
yeah.
So it's like we're geared towards rewarding mediocrity rather than actually rewarding
That's true.
talent and
That's
effort and skill.
And not to say that the yodeling Walmart kid is not talented in any way. I honestly,
Right.
I don't know how he does it. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible to me. But how lucky was it that he was just happened to be at a Walmart, somehow yodeled? Probably, I don't know. His grandma was like, "Hey, do your song for these nice people."
Right.
Somebody recorded on their phone, put it online on Twitter or whatever, and it just blew up. Now he's got 1.6 million followers on Instagram or whatever, and now he's got a song out that's doing super
Yeah.
well in the country charts. Like,
And that's crazy because, like, you say that, for example, I think meme culture is built around that sense of mediocrity equals reward.
Yeah.
Right. Because we can make shitty memes and those go viral because it's just stupid and we all laugh at them and they're funny.
Yeah.
Right. But then the actual merit that these people have is kind of ignored because it's just a piece of content that happened that, that we like and that we can consume, but we actually ignore the person creating it. A prime example of that
Very true.
is my dude, William Crooks. He's super talented producer. So he is known for being he's super funny. And he just put out this, like, I want to say like a week ago, maybe like a few days ago. He put out this meme. Well, it was actually a picture of a hamburger in the McDonald's wrap, right? And the actual picture came from somewhere else. Yeah, but he just put his own caption on it. And it was like, so do y'all eat the hamburger like with the peel on or off? Like, let me know. And you can see the picture is this picture of a hamburger bitten into with the peel bitten into it, with the wrapper bitten into as well.
I saw that.
But he called it specifically a peel just because it was funny. It was a meme-esque thing. But literally, like 3 days prior to that, he just dropped like a Brockhampton 8-song medley cover project thing, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And nobody paid in mind. But he dropped the hamburger thing, and that thing went viral. Like 200 plus likes, 100 plus, 100K plus, like 200K plus and 100K plus likes and retweets. Like, it's crazy.
That's
how
wild.
Far that has reached from the same person with the same skills, just different content, and complete. Like, it's just mind blowing how mediocrity is rewarded in that sense.
Yeah.
Because we don't even get to see his talent now.
It's true because like, and I think, I don't know, partly in a way, like we can go back to the conversation that we were having with Chloe, like even at the beginning of star power in a sort of way, like marketability, really, something that is easily consumable how do I want to put it? The idea that star power is equal to or just as important as actual talent actually changes the way that we have to market ourselves in a way.
Absolutely.
Because no longer are you just relying on one specific thing. Like you're almost relying on luck. I mean, with Drake and his whole ability to use memes to his success, to his advantage, exactly, was just amazing. And then to turn that into an actual marketing campaign, after Hotline Bling came out, just furthered the success of his music that he was releasing at the time.
And that's crazy. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
So like, how do we change that? That's what I wonder. Like, how do we go to where we can be the hypothetical scenario where everybody is on equal? Like, how do we make talent, or at least like apparent skill, more rewarded in our society? How do we shift that focus? Because we all say, this dude's crazy talented, but we're not necessarily so keen to share them. For example, like someone like Jacob Collier, incredibly talented,
super talented.
Nobody can deny that. He's one of the music gods, legends in the music community. But
he's like Herbie Hancock legendary now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. He works with Herbie Hancock. Like, he works with everybody. He's legendary.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we all know that his story, his skill doesn't necessarily, kind of translate into a story that we wish to follow. It's almost like it kind of speaks for itself. Okay, he's amazing. Cool. What else is there? Right?
Yeah.
It's not that he isn't interesting.
I think that might fall back on the definition of success, though. Because we've defined talent as, the set of personal characteristics that allow a person to exploit that said lucky opportunity. But then what is success in their eyes? Because Jacob Collier, because he could view his life as successful. I mean, he's working with Herbie Hancock. He's working with some of these great legends. So that to him could be success. And, his talent
and
alone
most likely is.
Right, exactly.
Like, I doubt that, he really bases his success off of, I guess, the general population, because his music is not for the general population. Mm-hmm. So I guess that makes sense. It's very dependent. There really is no one definition of success. It's just how this one test or this how we are kind of viewing it in this context.
Yeah.
But like I guess we could consider, how do you consider opportunity and luck in the context of the general population, or financial success, if you
Right.
will.
And unfortunately, I think at this point in time, it really is. I mean, in the eyes of the general public, is popularity and monetarily. That's how
Right.
we view success.
Then I think the way that we shift from that is to kind of observe successful people.
Yeah.
Like not in the sense that how we've been doing it, where we see their previous successes.
Right.
Right. I think to observe people actually being successful in the moment, in all forms of that, and in many different subjective ways, will actually start to shift what we view as successful, or
Mhm.
how we can become successful, and how we can start switching the dialogue from, let's see his history, to
Yeah.
wow, he's doing this amazing thing right now, or
Yeah.
he could be this thing, from this point, like regardless of where he's come from or what's happened, this is where he's at now.
Yeah.
Or whoever that person is. Because if we kind of shift it to view, the Jacob Colliers, or the people that are kind of behind the scenes that the general population doesn't see,
Mhm.
and show them that they are successful in their own right, then we are more keen to actually considering that people that have lesser successes, or even failures in history, are still, in some definition, successful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's just changing the mentality of how we view success then, as more of a spectrum than two specific things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, then luck becomes, I guess more fortuitous for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Or at least more it happens more often for everybody involved, because luck, obviously luck is luck. It's
Yeah.
just going to happen randomly. But if everybody's on more of an even playing ground, then there's more opportunity for higher talented people to gain success in the eyes of the population, and lesser talented people. But at least it's more even, because at present it definitely does not feel like the highest talented people are rewarded, for at least, again, in the eyes of the general population, because they're not.
Right.
The
No,
most
yeah.
mediocre, the most marketable, the most average, the most like approachable are
Yeah.
rewarded.
Because even according to the study, it was just saying that the most talented individuals were rarely the most successful out of them.
Yeah.
And that goes to a different conversation, I think, though, is that like, I don't know. I read this in an article, and I don't know if you've read this before, but it was saying how people who were more knowledgeable about a specific topic were often apprehensive, or more apprehensive than those who were least knowledgeable about a subject. For example, in terms of photographers, right? People who knew less about the skill of taking photographs thought that their photographs were better, or like way cooler than, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, than those who were professionals and tended to question themselves as a professional.
I remember seeing this article. There was like a graph where it showed that the amount of confidence that you have in your skill
Yes.
was like almost inversely proportionate to how much skill you actually had.
Right.
Or it wasn't inversely, but like it kind of did this U-shaped thing.
Yeah, it did.
So like, near the beginning, like the people that had less skill felt like they had the skill of somebody who was an expert,
Yes.
whereas the people who were experts felt like they had the skill of like somebody like less than an expert, right? But
Like somewhat
but
of an
over
amateur, yeah.
time, yeah. But over time, the higher that they got up in their domain, the more comfortable they became with being an expert. And it slowly creeped up, but it wasn't as dramatic as the kind of like the sharp curve of people who were lesser talented but felt they were more talented.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow.
So it's being in the middle that is just like you just second guess yourself the entire time. You're hesitant to like praise yourself.
And that is a different conversation. So why is it that, even though we can see clearly that mediocrity and being in the middle is actually the more successful route, but we feel like, like that being talented would be the better route to success, even though technically we want it to be that. It's not that. So like, it's just like weird. Like we naturally want to shift it, but for some reason we don't know how. That's weird.
It's just, I think that part of it is because like the artists that are currently popular now, not to call them mediocre in any sort of way, but they lack the amount of talent. I don't know if I'm wording this correctly, but um, they are confident in their abilities, right? Despite having a lower level of talent in said skill set than most professionals. And that obliviousness, I think, really allows them to not care. And that's part of, and again, like going back to like the rock star power, or star power or whatever, is part of it. That gives you an attitude or an air of like, I'm doing it. Like in terms of like 6ix9ine, for example. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily enjoy his music. I understand he has marketability, but again, he more than likely, I don't want to speak for him, but I think that he more than likely views himself as like very, very talented because of where he is, despite not being the greatest rapper, despite, you know what I'm saying? Not,
and that's because it's bolstered by literally his measure of success, which is, finance and social awareness.
Exactly.
That's literally, it's just bolstered by that. So if that's the only metric that he has to go off of, then he's incredibly successful.
Exactly.
But, so it's like, okay, how do we start shifting that? And that's just where we're at right now. There's a lot of talented people who aren't getting the recognition they deserve because luck plays a part in it. Luck plays a huge part in it. We're just not. I think we have to recognize that luck has such importance, that it's not just talent. Because honestly, talent has very little to do with how successful you are. It is the luck in being in this case, being marketable enough for the masses, having the right genes that make you pretty or, more handsome, It is literally just chance that you happen to have the right concoction of chemicals in your body that people find you aesthetically pleasing or that they find you sonically pleasing. It's just like complete chance. So I think we have to recognize that honestly is complete chance, and that luck really is an important factor in how successful people are, and will be more keen and more prone to recognizing the lesser known talents.
Yeah, I mean it's right place, right time, right person, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because and I think in order to, like, as an artist myself, not yet had the opportunity to be presented like a lucky scenario, I guess. I think part of what I can do to combat something like that is just put myself out there a lot more.
Correct.
Allow more opportunities to come to me rather than waiting for an opportunity to come to me.
Very much agreed. I think, that is something that young creatives or anybody, honestly, anybody, this applies to everybody, that if you're trying to put yourself out there or become more successful in your field, to definitely just do or reveal more of it, share more of it, make people more aware of that, and that you are doing something as often as you can. Because again, luck is a thing. Unlucky circumstances are a thing. Yeah. So to the best of your abilities, and we'll slowly start to see more of that shift. And of course, some people can't always put themselves in the best light. Some people just literally don't have the opportunity. Some people don't have internet. That's going to take time. Yeah. But for the people that do, if you see somebody, obviously that's talented, but it doesn't have that opportunity, put them on. The more of that and more of giving other people lucky opportunities. And I think we'll start seeing a lot that shift a lot more often.
Yeah. No, I completely.
There's another way to just say support the homies. Like,
yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing is just support your friends, support the local business people. I said that before. Recently.
Yeah, it's really essential. In they have the right concoction, right? The people that you're supporting have the right tool set and have the right mindset. They have the talent, right? They have the skills to be able to identify and exploit luck, but somebody has to present them. Or something has to present them with a lucky opportunity. Yeah. So you can be that more often just by sharing, just by commenting, just by liking something, but just by literally reposting.
Writing a review, like literally all those things help into creating something that you think is great, even greater. Allowing the opportunity to have this idea that you really believe in also continue to grow, and become better. Absolutely. And special for more than just one person, Because
100%.
I've definitely met those people before who are really I don't want to say elitist, but like they're really into like finding that one artist that nobody knows about and being proud that nobody knows about them. You know?
Right. The hipsters are the death of success. Just putting that out there. Don't be a hipster.
Yeah.
Be a sharer.
Yes. Share the love.
Spread the love. But
Yeah.
I think that's a really good conversation to have. So I invite our listeners to, ask those questions, ask us questions, ask other people questions, see what people, keep your pulse or keep your finger on the pulse of things and see what your friends are doing, see what your relatives are doing, see what, they have around them, see how you can create lucky opportunities for people who have the talent there.
Yeah.
And you may be surprised, it may help them and yourself in the end.
That's true. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, no, you never know. So that being said, we appreciate you for enjoying this week's episode. If you did enjoy it, if you didn't enjoy it, share this stuff. Maybe if you are so inclined, give us a lucky opportunity.
Yeah, write us a review.
Maybe just slide us a little like or comment or anything like that. But seriously, on a serious note, thank you guys for listening. Whoever is listening so far, and every listen helps. Every moment that you send us a message or literally just interact with us is another opportunity for us to be lucky and start a conversation or maybe pop something off. Who knows? So
really,
thank you.
Yeah, shout out to all the people who have sent us messages and stuff, and like honestly,
shared.
very, very appreciated. Like, I'm happy to hear that people are listening, and really taking the information and jumping in on the conversation. Like, I love that, just getting messages from someone and actually continuing the conversation about a specific topic. Like, that's what we're here for,
That's what we're here for. So what are we going to be here for next week, Luis?
I actually have this. So next week,
my man,
I'm getting prepared,
taking
man.
advantage of the opportunity.
Next week, we're actually debating. It's going to be a little bit of a switch. We're going to be debating the existence of soulmates with Magical.
Ooh, with Magical.
Yeah.
Magical.
What is Magical?
We'll find out next week.
Who is Magical?
Tune in next week to find out.
Yeah.
But until then, if you want to hit us up with any questions, any concerns, any advice, any tips, any love letters, any fan mail, do so at the website, thousandstory.co/contact, or hit us up over Twitter or Instagram in our DMs at 1000story_. That is an actual underscore, not the word underscore. And if you want to bug me or Louise on our personal profiles, my handles for both Twitter and Instagram are at Mr. Naji Boy. That's MrNajiBoy.
And my handle for Instagram is at El Pontillo. That's LPONTILLO. And for Twitter, it's at Luis Pontillo. That's LUISPONTILLO.
We're still in talks with the guy from Argentina.
Yeah, he told me he just got back from vacation, so so we should be I have to walk him through how to do it. So, but I think he's cool with it. So,
we'll see. We'll see. May luck be in our favor.
Until next week.
Until next week. Ciao.
Bye.